Welcome to the Block Exploring podcast, your first step into the world of crypto and blockchain. The Block Exploring podcast is your one-stop place to find quick, clear, and unbiased information on everything in the crypto space. Our goal is to help you grow familiar with the crypto space by growing along with us as we go on our crypto journeys. Follow @Block Exploring on Twitter for our newest uploads and our publishing schedule. We, here at Block Exploring, are crypto enthusiasts working hard towards becoming experts. Today's podcast is presented by co-hosts Tommy and Elias. Find us on Twitter under @SabaiSquared and @OtokoCrypto. Right now you can find us on Spotify and YouTube. Before we start the episode, we would like to inform you that we are not financial advisors. Therefore, nothing said in this podcast should be considered financial advice. Always contact your financial advisor before making any investment. With that said, sit back and enjoy today's podcast. What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 20 of the Block Exploring podcast with News Bytes. This is a big one, Tommy.
Yep.
We're going to be talking to you guys about everything that happened this past week, which is quite a bit of development, I would say, for the crypto community and for the crypto space in general. The market overall has been extremely bullish, I'd say. There was a bit of a dip when Binance announced its KYC, but I feel like we've moved past it. And, you know, the dipperino has passed.
Yeah, some sell off at some point because, like, I don't know, assets like ETH and were just going ham, you know. So, like, it's just only natural that there might be a little pullback because people are taking profits.
Absolutely.
But overall sentiment, I feel like, you know, there was like a few episodes ago where we were like, oh, we don't know what's going on. We're bulls, we're bull bearish, you know, situation. But now it's lit. It's lit. You know?
Now it's lit.
I feel like
now
every part of crypto and blockchain, like, it's just like very exciting. Everyone's very excited. I mean, at least on crypto Twitter, like, yeah, but they're always excited to some extent.
Crypto Twitter, like a meteorite could hit Earth and they'd say that it's FUD.
Still bullish.
They would still be bullish, you know?
Still bullish. Yeah, but it does change sometimes, you know, like it really depends who you're following, but like you can definitely tell when some sentiment has shifted and when some people are, you know, there's less tweeting and you know, frothiness when the market sentiment changes from bullish to a bit more bearish, but we back.
No, exactly. I've seen a whole lot more technical analysis charts. You know, people are much smarter all of a sudden in the crypto space because everything is going up. But I would say that the shining star would be Luna at the moment.
Okay.
I think if you've been paying attention at like the major increases in value in token price, I think Luna did a cheeky 5x over the past 2 months.
Oh, cheeky 5x.
Yeah, and everyone apparently on Twitter has been in Luna since 2012, before the project even started. It's great to see. If you followed me on Twitter at OtokoCrypto, you would have seen a post at €5 saying, "Hey, y'all should check on this project. It's like at a big discount." Yeah,
everyone wants to be early, even if it's not true, you know. Everyone wants to be early.
Yeah, and I can't say that I was early on Luna. I just pointed it out at a good time, I think, and that was right after that Bitcoin crash happened.
Is that crypto clout? If you're early, a little bit.
I think it's clout. A bit of. I think I got my first little badge there. You know, like I called it, y'all.
Let's go.
At a very unsuspecting moment.
Let's go.
Yeah. Let's go. I retweeted my old tweets just so people knew.
Yeah. You have to let them know, bro. You have to let them know.
Yeah.
Who's been spitting the facts? But
exactly. Exactly. No need for fake humble speak. But yeah, I think in other news, one of the biggest, most bullish developments that I have seen, and this is on a more serious note, is that the Dogecoin Foundation is coming back to support more the core development team. And as you know, Doge has so many flaws at the moment. You know, like the distribution, the way the tokenomics work. There's a lot that's kind of, you know, shoddy about Doge. But on a very big and important note, some heavy hitters from the crypto space have joined its board of advisors, which gives Dogecoin as a token from a technical aspect, a lot more validity and a lot more, certainty. So the main guys that we'd like to highlight are, of course, Vitalik, and then, of course, the Neuralink's Jared Birchall, the CEO of Neuralink.
I feel like that's big. Of course, Vitalik's big, but Neuralink
is also very, very big, and it's that Tesla kind of influence that is infiltrating into something like Doge.
Is it called the PayPal Mafia?
It's the PayPal Mafia.
Yeah, that's cool though. But Doge has been making waves, like Mark Cuban continuously, and Kevin O'Leary, I believe, as well. Also, maybe not Kevin O'Leary, but it's definitely Mark Cuban who's really behind Dogecoin. And I know, like on a football team, some football team is gonna have the Doge logo on their jerseys. It was paid by some like exchange or something. Yeah, they paid a bunch of money just to get Doge on this thing. Well, that's interesting that the foundation actually holds the Dogecoin, mark and logo, the trademarks to that, the rights to that.
Yeah.
I wonder what that means. Well, I guess this exchange paid a lot of money to get the Doge on their shirt. This
I think so too.
Shirt. So I doubt the foundation goes after them, but who knows?
Yeah, I think it's also interesting that you mentioned that, because the fact that the foundation itself, which is managed by the two lead developers, I believe.
I thought the main developer stepped away.
Yeah, but it's but like what's his face?
He doesn't even like crypto anymore.
No, he doesn't like crypto. But you have the guy who is now lead coder.
Billy Marcus? No, that's not him.
I think Keller,
Max
right?
Keller,
yeah. You have Billy Marcus is a co-founder, and Max Keller is a core developer.
Imagine.
I think that they're the ones also very heavily involved in the foundation.
Okay.
And this foundation is currently the ones that kind of hold the the copyrights on like the logo, etc., etc.
Right.
And it shows how far the legal system kind of is back, is behind on this development, because this is something that could easily have been done through something like a DAO, where the community owns it all, down to the copyrights, down to the logo, down to everything.
Exactly.
But legal requirements still state that there need to be at least one or two founders to a company such as the foundation.
Cringe.
And that for to request a patent, you need to give a person, not a legal person, but a physical person,
right,
his name, his credentials, etc., and then a company name, etc.
Right.
It shows on a from a legal perspective how far the legal space is behind on the crypto space.
Exactly.
But it's at least great to see that there are ways around this, because of course the foundation is heavily supported by the Dogecoin holders, and through this, in a very gray manner,
right,
all of this is still sort of maintained, but not very much so, because
well, they need to catch up, because like this is where things are moving, right? Things are moving towards things being validated on the blockchain. I know there's I forget who or what group or whatever, they're making a NFT marketplace that deals with copyright. Trading copyrights. You can trade copyrights as NFTs and that stuff. That's crazy, right? So that really changes the game as to who actually has ownership of the rights to something, especially as something we've talked about before, which is fractionalizing NFTs, right? And if you can fractionalize an NFT that is, that gives you the rights, legal rights to some copyright, that is
to the use and distribution.
Exactly, that is sick, and that you can distribute that to like a DAO, like DAO members and all that stuff. That's sick. That's awesome.
Sick.
But it requires them to
more
catch
power.
up. Exactly. It does. It really does, because then you can get into things where like you're a shareholder in this to these rights in some sense, right? You're a shareholder to the ownership of this NFT that gives you the rights to the use and distribution of something, an idea.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. Like you have then that really is empowering, because then you really have a real say, depending on how your DAO or how this plays out in many number of ways I can imagine. But it's definitely an interesting development.
No, I know. I think the major area of law that needs to grow, and this is something that I think is under highlighted, is enforcement on these kinds of issues. Like, let's say someone uses your copyright, which has been sold to you in the form of an NFT. Where do you go to claim your right? Who do you talk to? Which rights govern your ownership? These kinds of things are not yet in place, and it kind of banks on the street cred of an NFT merchant or those who are using the NFT.
Right.
And I think right now it's effective for like the PNGs, the profile pictures where you see the guys with their CryptoPunks only using it if they actually own the NFT.
Yeah.
And if someone actually uses a CryptoPunk without owning the NFT, they get called out, they get slammed.
You get wrecked.
People show the block explorer page where they see the smart contract, and they say it's not on your name.
Yeah. Damn. Yeah. That's the thing. What I like about the NFT space more so than like the rest of crypto and blockchain. It's really about the culture that is like being built around these NFTs and the communities that are being built, because that's like people are building emotional attachments to things and communities, and that so that really puts an emphasis on social cachet, in a sense, like your social equity, your social cachet, your credibility, even as a pseudo-anonymous person on the internet. I think an example of this is like I'm speaking in qualifiers, but like there's there's like a bunch. I think it's called. I don't want to even say the name of the. I don't want to call them out. There was a DAO that's made up of, that was like the face of it was this NFT influencer, with the idea is that they brought like many aspects of it's like an alliance of some sorts of many projects or people and that, right?
Okay.
But then like loads of people are upset with the main person because he was a bit misogynistic, completely like wrecked his a social cachet, credibility. So it's really about like how much you it's about being yourself in the space, right? Like I feel like as a community builder, I think that's what I found is like super important about in the space, is about being out there, being yourself, and like that's super important, like how you coordinate yourself in this space, like, and it leads to a lot of success if you're not a misogynist, that's for sure.
I think so too. And I think a very interesting development we see, which is maybe a sneak peek into the future, is that indeed what you're saying is here this person is being judged by a jury of his peers.
It's really the court
it's
of
not in the courtroom setting,
court of public opinion.
Exactly. And it's not always all the, let's stay away from the cancel culture discussion and all that, but this kind of enforcement, it has a lot of potential, and it can also be executed, I think, with crypto. And that's something that Charles Hoskinson said in an interview that he gave off. I'm just going to skip to that real quick, and we'll catch up with the Binance news later. Charles Hoskinson, he explained how Cardano could get $1 trillion market cap, but in this interview, he said, well, the crypto space is really still in like its baby phase, in its infancy. It's very, very early. He says that sooner than we might expect, we'll be thinking about $1 trillion total value, total market cap for just a token, for something like Cardano. And he says that because right now, crypto is being used by crypto natives. And he says in the future, governments will be using it to, facilitate a voting system where people can just vote from home on their phone by using blockchain, immediately validating it, and preventing fraud, etc., etc.
Okay.
He's thinking that kind of scale, and I think that the way that we see people in the NFT space being, very much held to their social creds, to their reputations, to their use and ethical use of NFTs, for instance, in a profile picture, is really a sneak peek into the future of maybe how people will deal with copyrights and patents in the future. People might report it to a DAO. The DAO will look into it. The DAO will make a decision, which has to be validated by the same group of people that are in charge of overseeing this.
Right.
I think that's kind of the future that we will go into in years, maybe decades. But I think that's the most future-oriented you can be. And I think that this interview that Charles Hoskinson, the founder of Cardano, gave is really, I think it's really a very clean and not overly bullish analysis of the crypto space and how things can accumulate, accelerate, and move in the crypto space. So yeah, I think that was if you haven't
checked out ADA,
seen
it out
or read, checked out ADA. I mean, in the past week, it already crushed its all-time high.
It's been moving, making moves. The ADA
it has been making moves.
Be going crazy for once. Actually,
yeah, exactly. And Cardano is a bit of a the approach that was taken when founding Cardano was a bit radical. It still gets a lot of flack for being too academic and slow, and the way it's being developed. It takes years for these minor things like the smart contracts to be introduced, because it needs to be revisited. A bunch of PhDs have to sign off on it, analyze it, look at the broader perspective. But I think it's one of the most critical developed projects out there right now, and the most future oriented, and you can definitely see it in the words of Charles Hoskinson. So I think it's what Charles Hoskinson was saying is that eventually he wants to scale to 1 billion users, and indeed $1 trillion. Then indeed $1 trillion market cap isn't like
that far
that crazy,
Right, so that is sick, bro. Oof, that's sick. Imagine that, 1 billion on Cardano. I mean, we'll see. Like, I think I've said before, like, I'm really interested in seeing how the culture around it develops, how the developer community around Cardano develops. Because I think that's very important. Like, if you don't have people interested in building on Cardano, then it's going to be a GG. But I think also a rebuttal to myself would be that there are already so many projects. What's going to stop them from just creating a bridge to Cardano? That's also a possibility.
Exactly.
But I think because what I understand from, like, I still want to emphasize culture, though, because it's not only culture within the developers, it's culture surrounding, like, the ecosystem, whether it be NFTs, whether it be the DeFi situation in Cardano, the cultures that percolate in Discord and Twitter and all other venues. That I think that's super important. And, like, it's easy for them to say that, and I think it's like, of course, like, everyone tends to believe that Cardano is going to be a thing. It's not like anyone denies Cardano is going to be a thing. Like, they're already huge. But let's see how that develops in comparison to things like ETH, in comparison to things like the Bitcoin Lightning, Bitcoin community maxis and Lightning, network, and everyone. We'll just see. It's dope. It's dope, though. I get behind it.
Exactly. And
disclaimer,
of course,
I hold ADA disclaimers.
Me too. Disclaimer. No, but of course, I think it's all about the way that this will develop. And I think also it's very important to highlight that maybe sometimes a cheaper, easier solution arrives, even though there's like a team of PhDs working on it and validating it and making sure that it's being developed in their vision. If you look at just the way any market works, I think it was like with video recorders or DVD recorders, something like that. There were two main companies fighting to get like the most used kind of way to play media. And one was better. It did it simpler or with higher quality footage, etc., etc. But the other one just did it cheaper, and that one ran away with the market. So it's always important to take that into account as well when looking at these kinds of cryptos, which are like I would Charles Hoskinson would call it. I think he calls it like Algorand and
networks.
I don't know, like Starkwave. Yeah, he calls it science coins, very heavily researched by a lot of academics, etc., etc., with a lot of very like future-oriented thought into it. He calls it science coins. I think you should watch out for that. Maybe sometimes there's just a different demand than the optimum. Maybe it's just the most efficient. Maybe it's just the easiest. Watch out for that.
No, for sure. Yeah, I mean, there's so many variables to what's actually going to succeed. So, people, do your research. Listen to the podcast. Come on now.
Yeah, exactly. And I think if you look at that and you look further in recent news, once again, coming back to the way that legislators are behind on everything, Binance now requires KYC for all its users.
GG.
We've saw it coming, I would say. The way that no transactions were going through, you couldn't take your money off the exchange easily. Everything was taking a very long time. It felt like they were stalling for something. They were moving towards a new kind of set of rules. And that's the danger of a centralized exchange. It's a company. It's owned by a few people. They have to comply with the space as it is. It's just an exchange, just like the Nasdaq, just like any other exchange, but for cryptocurrency. And the only thing is the what is being exchanged is different. The rest is it could be stocks, it could be crypto, but they will still have to do KYC because they are centralized.
Yeah, exactly. It's cringe, dude. I was having such stress, like onboarding some fiat into an exchange to get to buy some ETH. No financial advice, but like, goddamn, was that hard? It really made me understand why banks are literally dinosaurs. Literal dinosaurs that need to be completely obliterated by crypto blockchain. It will happen. I believe
it will happen, and I think at some point people will also realize, after burning their fingers over and over and over again. I mean, I use Binance as well, but because it's easy, because it's simple, it's a quick way to get your fiat currency into crypto. That's why. But on the long term, when I think like you and I experienced that your crypto balance starts exceeding your fiat balance, you don't really want to deal with this kind of nonsense anymore, and you want to kind of move towards something of a decentralized exchange. So you have fewer fees, so you have more agency over your crypto, so you don't have to comply with things like KYC for something that is a decentralized exchange, etc., etc. So you actually own your crypto. I think that's what the long-term vision is, and I think that's what's going to happen once people start, seeing the increased value of crypto over that of fiat currencies as they are in their current forms.
It's exciting stuff, though. They just need to. It's exciting because we're at the frontier, but it's like growing pains. This is literally the definition of growing pains.
No, absolutely.
It's a bit brutal, but you got to do it if you wanna. Get it while the getting is good.
But I think if you look at the market response of this Binance KYC news, it bounced back fairly quickly. There was 1 day and a half where the market kind of was all red, but like minus 5% ish red. Bitcoin dropped. not the big red, more like the, oh, it was this price a week ago red.
Big red the gun. No.
Yeah, exactly. But the bounce back was fairly fast, and I think a lot of people also
That's what I'm
that are
saying,
still
bro.
in the
We
space.
back.
Yeah,
We back.
exactly.
I don't think
they
people
realize.
left, though. I think they were just sitting on the sidelines.
Yeah, I think they sat on the sidelines, and I think that a lot of people now realize, they've done a bit more research, they've gotten a bit more accustomed. They're no longer. I don't see as many like moonshot projects as I see now. I see like celebrities like Lil Pump do something called Baby ETH or whatever the hell that is.
Wait, you're saying this is happening now? I haven't seen.
Oh yeah.
No.
Have you seen that?
No, man.
It's ridiculous.
I tried to not.
No, exactly. But I see fewer and fewer as well.
So it's getting less scammy. No, dude,
it's getting less scammy, less pump and dumpy.
I like this so much more. I like where the space is at so much more than when we were at SNL, like Doge, Shiba Inu, that
everything
mooning, like this language, and like, I mean, it's fun and all fun and games until like, yeah, nice one, guys, we're wrecked.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's also now more, especially for something like Doge, I think the focus will be much more on the use and the fundamentals rather than just how far can this community pump a coin.
Yeah,
which is a lot more future oriented.
Yeah, we're moving towards like utility focus as opposed to moon. Like, I feel like the people who finally stayed, people who've gone to the crypto to stay in the space, they're getting over we're trying to just 200x, but rather we're trying to stay for like, what is actually exciting that's happening. What is the actual utility? Because that's like literally everything. Literally everything.
No, absolutely, man. And I think it's there's been a lot of growth, a lot of almost, you would say, like emotional growth in the crypto space, and especially these smaller projects that are without any fundamentals, with just a smart contract that's been created to create a token, and then a nice little logo and a bit of branding. How far can we pump this coin before our founders dump it on you?
And this is where we get the influencer rug pulls, that we were talking about a few episodes ago. Like, it's just it's a mess, bro, and it's annoying because it's like the people who can least afford to get rug pulled are getting rug pulled. It's like kids, bro. And it's like, come on, bro. it's a shame. But that's why, we move. we move.
Yeah. And we see, I think, as we see a lot of projects kind of develop to a more mature phase of their kind of existence. So it's overall, I think, what we've seen this past week, what we're starting to see, the larger projects with a lot of, I'd say, batting power, in both in a financial sense, but also in a legal, influential, governmental sense. They're starting to voice more and more a demand for actual legislation and actual clear outlining how they see the future of crypto develop. So, with the Binance KYC news, the way that's going, I think it shows the flaws of the past and where the space is moving towards, rather than a very bearish sentiment of, oh, you're gonna have to do KYC for Binance. Guess the bull market is over. No, I think it shows the bull market is going to move to other centralized exchanges that aren't being targeted as hard by centralized authorities, and the bull market's going to move, or at least exercise itself on decentralized exchanges.
Yeah. Well, I think people are becoming more regulation savvy in terms of understanding what regulation can actually influence and in what way these tokens they can make better assumptions, as opposed to just hearing regulation and it's like dump. Exactly. Which is not like, a good example of how this is changing is that we have that infrastructure bill, which is just like impossible to enforce. And people in the space understood that, or, the market at least did not just tank after, this, what like a few years ago could have been Black Swan event? Is that what it's
Black Swan event?
Yeah. Like this nonsensical bill, right? But now people are like, crypto space is not, we're like 5% mass adoption, but crypto space is not gonna I'm not gonna budge for something that just doesn't make sense. Clearly.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And with those final words, I think that was it for this week's episode of the Block Exploring podcast and News Bytes.
Yeah.
If you're here from Tommy's project on Axie Affinity 3 Pillars Gaming, big shout out to you guys.
Thanks,
You've been tapping in very regularly. A big shout out to you, Tommy, also for starting that project. It's going great.
Yeah, shout outs to the fam. Y'all been supporting. Yeah.
Well, with that said, stay tuned. We'll not be with you next week because I actually will be getting married.
Woo!
But we'll be with you in 2 weeks. Stay tuned. We'll also update you in the meanwhile.
Take it easy.
Peace.